I'm Liane, and I'm going to talk to you about my tips and tricks for weathering toys into cosplay props or costuming stuff. It can also be applied to larger scale models. Okay, so what I'm starting with today is going to be just a toy gun. And the bare minimum to do my kind of weathering is going to be sandpaper and black paint. So with this particular model, I would sand pretty much everything on it and then do a black wash over all of it. To make a black wash, I used about 3 droppers full of a pipette of water and then about 12 drops of black paint. Mix it up, and then when you're doing a wash, you're just slopping it on there. You want it to just run into all of the crevices. It gives you some relief, some depth. We can show you what that is going to look like here, right now. So I've done a little bit of sanding on the handle on this one, on this side of it. The amount of sanding that I would do on the metal is going to be enough to scuff it and take the shine away so that you can get some paint to actually stick to the shiny plastic. So on the handle, if I'm going to do the black wash, just going to slop it on there. You don't need to be careful. You just want to get it all into all of the crevices and cracks. It's going to take a while to dry in between each layer of It's going to take a little while to dry in between the layers of paint on the wash, so just let it set aside, work on something else, come back. This is what it's going to look like after you've got a couple of coats of the wash on it. So it's much darker, less the shiny plastic toy. Legally, the orange tip is supposed to stay on. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to go a little bit further, I would go with a dry brush. So on the metal, something like a silver dry brush, you get some on your brush, wipe most of it off, and then just drag it over the parts that are raised on the gun. That way it'll pick out the detail, give you some highlights, again, more depth to it. You can always do another wash to dull it down a bit if you need to. On the handle, I would probably do a brown dry brush on top of the wash that I had already done. Perhaps another wash after that. You just go back and forth, repeating those steps until you get it the way you want it to look. When you're satisfied with how your weathering looks, I recommend putting on a clear coat. So you can get gloss, semi-gloss, and flat clear coats. So if you wanted the handle to not be so shiny, you could make it not as shiny. Clear coats will protect all the work that you just did. On this chainsaw, I did a bunch of washes, probably about 20 different washes, and then a lot of dry brushing. It was for a zombie hunter costume, so it's got some blood splatter. Just lots and lots of dry brushing and washes to get that kind of finish. For this carbine, I cut off a toy rifle on the barrel and on the stock, so to get it to the right length. Lots and lots of paint and dry brush on this one too. I think this one came out really well. If you need something to look like metal that doesn't, there are metal paints, there's plastic that looks like metal, and then there's actually metal. Never underestimate gluing on pieces with just Elmer's white glue or wood glue. When I cut the stock off of this, I had to fill it in with some balsa wood and then paint over it, but it came out just fine. We also sell stock plastic in clears for tinting things like glasses or a screen. For the steampunk folks, we got lots of gears, and then you just paint them up, attach them and paint them up to whatever you want them to look like. There are lots of detail accessories that you can buy that will weather anything. Rustall is a 4-part system that'll make it look like anything is rusted. Weatherall will weather anything. We've got pre-made washes. I still usually thin those down a little bit more for this kind of application. Pigments to make something look dusty or dirty, and then always clear coats. You can get them in the sprays as well as the bottles.